This is CHSR 97.9 FM here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, and you're listening to Python's Paradise, your film and music show. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, a.k.a. the Python Hyena. And folks, one of the best film-going experiences I had in 2016 was with a little film by Richard Linklater called Everybody Wants Some. And I've been raving about that film since I've seen it. I got the soundtrack album, and I've seen it 9 times in the theater, which is a record for me, seeing anything at the theater. And I had the pleasure of having Tori Terranova on the show here back in late October, and she, of course, was Deborah Cadabra. And now I have Forrest Vickery on the phone here. But I have to introduce him correctly. Wake up, Coma!
Well, thank you for having me, and thanks for the kind words.
Are you awake, or do we have to get Finn to go by and give you a little tap in the head?
I talked to him yesterday, actually, so no, I'm good. I'm kind of awake.
I noticed
Almost nap time out here, though.
Well, I noticed it didn't do much when he did it.
No, not at all. It's really easy to ignore Finn or Glenn.
Yeah, but you know,
you just kind of space them out.
But that Deborah Cadabra, I bet she could wake you up with the crack of that whip.
She could, yeah. Old Tori, she's not a bad person to look at. Sweet girl too.
Oh yeah. I had her on here. She said she during each take she cracked a different one of us with that whip.
Boy, she did, and it was cold that night too. I mean, I think it was probably 40 degrees, 35 degrees. She whipped me a lot that night. Brutal.
I think she should have had all of you lined up there, strung out, your pants down, just your hindquarters showing, and just lashed every one of you.
Right. I think it's even better in the whitey tighties from back then. That'd be perfect. That'd be great. That was all improv. Oh, Tori, she just kind of took it on herself to whip us real good.
Well, as I told you, or I told Tori, excuse me, I saw Everybody Wants Some 9 times. When that thing was advertised, I was like, wow, that it takes you right back with the 80s music, and it, like, I'm 44 years old, so I grew up with a lot of that music, so it was pure nostalgia for me, and I couldn't wait to see the movie. And we were really late getting it, and we only had it for 2 weeks. But I went to it 9 times, and I absolutely loved it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Well, yeah, thank you. And the music, I mean, is definitely one of the best parts. That's, Rick, his thing is he's just so brilliant. He just knows all that stuff so well. We were just kind of blown away. Because he would be like, this song played in August of 1980. It's when it came out. So he's the encyclopedia with all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I saw that movie like I said 9 times, and I'm going to tell you, I know there was one female working at the theater. She'd come in to clean the theater, and she would do a double take, and she'd see me there, and she'd be like, "You're here again?" And it's funny because if I was seeing, I don't know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they wouldn't have bat an eye. But I'm seeing this independent film, and they don't know what the catch is because they don't get where I'm coming from. That I don't rush out to see a movie based on what Hollywood tells me to see.
Right. That's great. That's how most people should be. Just watch. Keep an open mind to everything. And I think the good thing about the movie, too, the thing that makes me most proud is that we kind of do hear that. It gets better as it goes. And being that there's so many kind of crazy characters in it, you can follow the different characters. We've seen the movie 20 times at this point, but every time I just kind of follow a different character, and it's like following that character's path.
Well, I got bragging about the fact that I saw it 9 times, and then I noticed Glenn Powell's put a tweet out that said that his mom saw it 11 times, and I was like, I'm defeated.
Right. Just go watch it twice more. We'll say it's even. But Glenn's mom definitely I bet she watched it more than 11 times. She was at every screening and everything we ever could watch it at.
Well, you know what? A mother has to support her child, so.
No doubt, no doubt. Yeah, and it was cool when we premiered at South by Southwest. We had all the moms there with us. So we had, pretty much all the guys and even Zoe, all the moms were there, and they all got to kind of party together too, which was cool. It was kind of a crazy sight.
Well, like I said, I loved the movie, and before I got it on Blu-ray home, and I even ordered the soundtrack off of Amazon, and like I said, they didn't even get every song in the movie on that soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they had.
Yeah. We actually have a CD that Rick gave us whenever we first got cast in the movie. He gave us like 4 CDs with like 20 different songs on it. So we have 80, 90 songs in my car on a CD that has all the music he was thinking about putting in there too.
Yeah.
So he had so much more on that.
Yeah, great stuff. And easily my favorite movie this year. I felt so bad domestically. It only made like $3 million, and it didn't even get a wide release like overseas, worldwide. Mm-hmm. And it bugs me because I think it's, like I said, the best film-going experience I had all year.
It's great. And that's awesome to hear. But, in this industry, you can't really worry about that kind of stuff. We had a blast, the time of lifetime doing it, and I think people will end up seeing it. That too, if you make good stuff, and I'm really proud of it, it kind of does get out there. There's so many ways for people to watch movies now. So now if it got on Netflix or anything, I mean, the most people that I've heard that come up to me and say they watched it, they saw it on like airplanes, so you can't we don't really hold on to that. We think that people will end up watching it. The same thing happened with Dazed and Confused. No one really got to see that in theaters.
You know what? The same thing happened to The Big Lebowski, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Office Space. Look at them now.
Hey, I'll take those comparisons. Some of the best movies, in the last 20 years.
Well,
so hopefully people will watch it.
Well, in 1998, the highest grossing film of the year was Armageddon, and I thought that film was trash. And yet, The Big Lebowski and Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Dark City came out that year. Now they're like got these huge cult followings, and it's kind of like, we don't think high regard of Armageddon anymore.
Nope, in no way. So, I mean, hey, in 20 years, I hope people are saying that. I mean, there's been a lot of movies that came out this year that I think they could make that Lebowski and Armageddon comparison.
Like I said, Everybody Wants Some is one of those films I think will get the cult following. And I'm going to go on a limb here and say this. I said this to Tori. I think Everybody Wants Some is Richard Linklater's greatest film.
Oh, wow.
I think so.
Bold. I mean, that's awesome, and I'm kind of biased, so I would hope so. I mean, I think. I mean, I don't know if he ever had, if he had more fun making another film. So, I mean, with us, I think that's a big part of it. I mean, it's hard to beat Dazed,
I like Dazed and Confused. Yep.
Great thing. He's got just, tons and tons of movies. So just being in there in his group of movies is awesome.
Well, I liked Dazed and Confused. I liked Waking Life and Scanner Darkly, and I did not get to see Boyhood, but that's supposed to be a great one. Huh?
You got to see Boyhood. Boyhood's great, and even with that one, they're just kind of all different. Besides us and Dazed being kind of in the same, spectrum, but all of them are so different, But yeah, I mean that would be great if people were to think that, and I appreciate you saying that.
Well, it's genuine come from me. The fact I had you and Tori on here, that means I got to promote this movie twice, and there's no other film this year that got this kind of promotion from me.
Dude, that's awesome, and we appreciate it. I've already told a couple of the guys actually about this, so I'm sure a few more wouldn't mind talking to you.
Well, you know what? I've been trying to reach out. I've been reaching out to everybody I could, and sometimes Twitter can be hard. I've gotten guests before through Twitter. You're my 65th interview since 2015, so yeah, I've done quite a few. And
yeah, Twitter's tough. Twitter's it's Facebook, I guess, is a little bit easier, but I mean, there's just so much on Twitter, and
well, 140 characters doesn't help.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and then all kinds of people are saying stuff on there, so I'd say it's a little bit more difficult than the other social media stuff to use.
Yeah.
But it doesn't hurt to try.
Yeah. So, how did you get the part of Coma? Just a standard audition?
Yeah, well, it was crazy. I was living in Dallas and had been acting for a couple of years in commercials and small indies and stuff like that. And it was actually my first major film audition. And I remember getting the call from my agent being like, we have something that we think could be really good for you. And I was like, that's great. So he was like, you got to drive down to Austin tomorrow, 3.5 hours. And so I went down, and it was kind of a whirlwind of 2 months, I guess it was 6 auditions later. I got the phone call from my agent just saying, hey, man, you're going to Austin next week. And so, I mean, Coma wasn't much of a character at first, and through all the rehearsals at Rick's Ranch and the time reading the script, he kind of let me be in more scenes, and most of the roles kind of grew through that. But yeah, it was just a kind of a crazy whirlwind experience. I remember the first time going in the audition room and Rick being there and me just kind of being like, wow, this is real. This is real. I'm about to have to step my game up. And I don't know. It was a month and a half later, and we were at his ranch working away, rehearsing.
So right now, as you talk to me, are you dressed like a Bible salesman?
No, the furthest from. I don't know. I guess the Bible salesman can be wearing athletic shorts and a workout shirt, but
I like that comment that Finn makes to you when you go into the punk club. You're dressed like a Bible salesman. He goes, well, you could use a Bible right now.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I thought that was great. And Coma always did dress like that. Rick would be like, hey, wear this. And I felt like everybody was making me tuck in my shirt and always wear my hat. But Coma was the Bible salesman of the group, I feel like.
You wearing your lucky helmet right now?
I am not. They wouldn't even let me take it. I did get my hat, but my lucky helmet's out there somewhere. Around.
You can tell I watched this quite a bit.
I love it.
Oh, yeah. I would have been 8 years old in 1980 when that film came out. The time frame of that film, I should say. In August 1980, I would have been 8. So for me, like seeing Blake Jenner show up there and have all those vinyl records in the back. Of course, vinyl making a comeback. I remember when 8-tracks were out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So seeing all this, and I love the fact, and I've seen movies screw this up. I know Boogie Nights succeeded in looking like the 70s, and same with Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I love the fact that Richard Linklater captured the era, just like he was Dazed and Confused set in the 70s. He captured the era.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that was one of the best things, too. And we spent a lot of time working on that because we all come in and we have our phones and everything that comes with today, and we go in and he's like, hey, put up your phones, put up all these things, and let's actually kind of get in the era. And then we would be doing things like high fives and stuff like that, and he'd be like, no, you can't do high fives. They didn't do high fives back then. So I think Blake actually sneaked in one high five. But yeah, I mean, he's just so brilliant like that, where he just has such a grasp of all those things, and he really pays attention. I think that's a big thing with today. We kind of let time fly by a little bit more. And, I think he just really notices all these things and really, puts them in the mind bank. And now we got to use them. And he did a damn good job, you know.
Well, what I know, it's like Blake Jenner. Interesting thing with him is he's done 2 movies this year that I've seen more than once. The other one that he did recently was Edge of 17, and I gotta say I've seen that twice already, and I'm seeing a real branch out for him. I like what I'm seeing out of him.
He's and he's really good, and he's super handsome guy, and just has everything going for him. But he works real hard too. That's something we all kind of noticed about Blake, is he's just so. I mean, he had to be in, every single scene and be there every single day, and that that's tough. As the number 1 on the call sheet guy to do that, and he just works really hard. And he was kind of one of the youngest guys, but he just kind of fit in well, and it was just so. And he just does a good job, and he's so great, and you can tell that in the Edge of 17 and any of the other stuff, he actually writes too, and he's done this movie called Billy Boy, and when that comes out, it's his best work he's done.
Oh yeah, okay. I never heard of Billy Boy. I have to keep that open.
Just wait.
Yeah, I loved Edge of 17, and again, another one I hope that finds an audience. But I gotta say, and from the opening moment of that film, Everybody Wants Some, we're following him the whole way through. We're with him every step of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Of course,
and the pressure of that kind of too. I remember going into it and being like, this guy, the story's kind of following him, and to have 11 other guys in there with him, the pressure of holding that up and carrying that torch, and I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, you had a whole lot of interesting people in that film. Zoe, is it Deutsch, her last name? Deutsch?
Yeah, Deutsch.
Deutsch. You know what is interesting about her? I found out, I looked her up, it was actually about a year ago, because I was wondering what else I'd seen her in, and I discovered something else. I discovered why she is so stunningly beautiful, because her mom is Leah Thompson.
Yeah, her mom is the Leah Thompson from Back to the Future. So that lady, she's beautiful, and Zoe's beautiful, and they're both super good, But you can see that, and then her dad's a really good producer, really nice guy too. So
yeah, Howard Deutsch, who of course directed Pretty in Pink.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so not bad genes there.
Not
she's
bad.
Really following up, but she's killer.
Well, Zoe, I noticed, has her mom's eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that. And
the
facial features, they look a lot alike.
Yep.
Zoe has movies just coming out like crazy over the next year.
Well, I plan to go see the next one she's in, called Why Him?
I think it's going to be great. Her and James Franco and Bryan Cranston, that's just kind of a crazy trio right there anyways.
Yep. But no, and although she didn't appear largely until towards the end of the film, I love the phone conversation where they have the split screen between her and Blake, and just watching her eyes and her reactions to him, like she's totally in character the whole way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she lives it. That's a thing about good actors, and just when we all first met Zoe, you could tell that she kind of just lives in the moment, and that's a big thing with us. And she was always there and always connected and just great. And then just when she does it, there's just something about her that captivates you in everything she does in real life and on film.
Yeah, she's definitely somebody to look out for, and she does have that film coming out. Should be right around Christmas time.
Yeah, I think it's December 23rd, maybe. Why him?
Yeah. So it might be interesting to see that. But loved her and Everybody Wants Some, and of course loved even the location stuff. Like the sound machine, and then the country bar. And then the punk bar, and then you had that interesting Sunday night at the Party Oz.
Oh, the Oz Party, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they became characters themselves. with the country bar, that was like in some old church in some town in the middle of nowhere, and they just made it into that.
Okay.
And then the punk club was just in I think it was like in just somewhere on the studio type thing they had set up in the back, and they set that up so crazy like. And they all had their own character, and they were all so different.
Yes.
And then the environment inside was so different. I think that's another thing that kind of captivates you. You really walk into the world, and you notice when we all walk into the places, you're in that world, and I think you can kind of feel like you're in there. That's the good thing about movies.
Yeah, and I love that about it. And I think one of my favorite. Actually, I wouldn't know. What was your favorite of the 4 locations? Of the 4 bars?
Favorite of the 4 locations?
Like between Sound Machine, the
Oz
country.
was crazy.
Oz, okay.
Oz was insane because when we all drove up, it was like on Halloween. We filmed it on Halloween night too.
Okay.
So it was like that was the biggest feeling of walking into a different world, because everyone was dressed up and it was so much fun. It was super cold, but it was just such a great experience. And I think having everyone dressed up and all those lights all over the place, that was insane. But the Sound Machine was pretty crazy too, because when we walked in there, I had never felt like I was in 1980 until I walked into the Sound Machine, and I was like, wow, yeah, we're living this for sure now.
Yeah. And lots of other cool people in this movie. Loved Glenn Powell as Finnegan. I loved Finnegan. Probably one of my favorite characters in the movie. Finnegan talking about his average manhood.
And when we were auditioning, we all got to do that scene right there. And I remember all of us kind of coming in and being like, we are so jealous of y'all that y'all get to do this scene. But he's so good. Glenn's so good. And he was kind of like the leader of the group a little bit, because he was from Austin, and he would kind of show everybody around. But man, I mean, Glenn's great, and that character was written so well too. I think that's one of Rick's, with Wooderson, one of Rick's best characters.
You want me to tell you what I found interesting about Finnegan? Is he fit into everything. Like, they went to the Sound Machine and they got kicked out. And then they suggest the country bar, and he goes, I don't want to go to no blah 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 blah, and he says, and Blake says to him, he goes, does that mean you're not going? He goes, I didn't say that. And of course, next thing you know, he's on the mechanical bull being tossed off that. And even with the punk bar, like, nobody wanted to go. They were like, oh, except him. He grabs that, he puts his arm around that.
Even Plummer didn't want to go there, and Plummer wanted to do everything.
Yep, and yet Finnegan, he was open for it. And then when he gets to Party Oz, like, he gets inside, Sean puts a hat on his head, and he goes, Finn the Freak, he blended in everywhere.
Well, I think that's kind of, Rick showing that everyone we all kind of have that person in our lives too, and it makes, when you have that person around you that is open to doing all those type of things, it kind of allows everybody else, because all of us ended up pretty much having fun at these places, except for me at the punk club. But all these places, everybody was kind of having fun after jumping into something we weren't really sure about, and he was kind of the gatekeeper to all that. Like, hey guys, like, this actually could be cool. Let's do it.
Well, you know what?
It is in life too.
What it put me in mind of was a scene in Fast Times at Ridgemont High where Rat is being. I don't know if you've seen Fast Times. Have you seen that?
Of course.
Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The scene where they're standing by the cardboard cutout of Debbie Harry, and Ramon is telling Rat about going on a date, and he says, one of the things he says to him, he says, act where you, like, the place you are is the place to be,
Right.
And it kind of reminds me of what Finnegan does.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I think we mentioned that. I think someone actually mentioned that when we were doing that.
Yeah, well,
when we were doing one of those scenes.
Well, there you go.
I'm not sure, but yeah, that's definitely exactly what it is.
Another interesting character, Brumley, played by Tanner Kalina.
Yeah.
Does he still have that mustache?
God, no, he doesn't. He was at my house yesterday actually watching the Cowboys game. He doesn't have the mustache, thank goodness. I don't know if anybody would notice if he still had the mustache because you can't really see it. But, yeah, he was a character for sure.
I sent an interview request out to him.
He's gonna reply back. We just talked about that yesterday. I told him I was doing this today, and he's an interesting character for you to have on here as well.
So he did
a great job because Brumley wasn't that character in the script written that way at all. And then Tanner came in and put his own very specific spin on it, and I mean, I think he killed it. He's one of my favorite characters because he's the guy. There is that guy in every group, but I mean, sometimes the other guys don't want to be that guy, but he embraced that guy so heavy and did such a good job.
You want me to tell you
comedic relief of the group?
You want me to tell you what I noticed about Brumley?
What's that?
He's so awkward. Even when you first see him, they're making fun of the mustache, and he doesn't know how to act socially, like he's full throttle for the bottle and blah, blah, and then he gets told off and whatnot. He's so awkward, but yet you'll notice throughout the film, he excels at everything. I noticed like when they're playing basketball, shooting the hoops inside the frat house, he's the one getting the baskets. Even in the game of Knuckles, he's winning.
No, that's true, and that's good that you noticed that. I love that you noticed that because, I mean, that's kind of Tanner, too. Like, Tanner's really good. He's just really athletic, and he's huge, as you can tell. He was the biggest dude in the group by 2 inches. But I think that's kind of great, too, because you can kind of see if it was a TV show or if there was another one, that the next year, we've all said that Brumley's going to be the best player on the team. Brumley's going to end up being the best person. When he grows up a little bit.
I love that scene.
And everybody gets a hold of him. He's going to be the best player. And I think that was kind of the idea of it after we started rehearsals and kind of found the character Brumley.
One scene that got a huge laugh with him every time I saw, all 9 times I saw it, is when they're getting ready to go to the sound machine and he puts the stuff down his pants, the cologne.
Yeah, it's a great scene. And they found that too. They did that. That wasn't in the script, and then they kind of came up with it, and they really pushed for it. And then Rick was like, "Okay, we'll shoot it." And then so sure enough, they shot it, and that's one of my favorite scenes too. That's his best scene in the movie, I think.
Yeah, and of course when Finnegan is testing out that stuff there, holds his finger out to the girls there, and he looks away, and Brumley licks it off his finger, and he turns around.
Yeah, I didn't know that scene happened until we watched the movie.
Yeah, I loved Finnegan's reaction too,
Yeah, and punched him, and then got the stuff on the camera too, and they kept that.
And of course, Temple Baker, who played Plumber. Of course, you say you had a hard time at the punk place. Actually, kind of he did, because I noticed he got shoved against the wall.
That was a fun scene to shoot too. I thought that was great because we didn't really have any like stunts like that in the movie. So that was the last day of filming, and then we got to see. We had the stunt coordinators getting ready, and they threw him up against the wall 5 or 6 times, I think. So we all had a lot of fun watching that one.
And I won't give away the end of the movie, but I love that closing line he gives that last scene, And of course, I guess it was Tori was telling me that it was ad-libbed or something about him being with Deborah Cadabra the night before.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, Coma was kind of unhappy with that because I felt me and Deborah had a thing going. I thought we had some chemistry there, and it turns out that Plumber got that with Deborah at the end. Really, really screwed Coma there.
Well, one thing we could say about Plum, he's a good observationist. After all, cats shouldn't be in fridges.
That's true. He still has that on his Twitter.
I saw that too, and he wanders around that party Oz, and just tests out everything.
That's Plumber for you.
Yeah,
Plumber. There's a real life Plumber guy that's very similar to that lovely character.
And then you had a couple of real jocks in the film. You had Ryan Guzman as Kenny, and you had Tyler. How do you pronounce his last name? Huh? Hecklin. I really liked the character of Glenn. I don't know whether Mick Reynolds was a reference to Burt Reynolds because the mustache, because Burt Reynolds was the biggest box office star in 1980.
Right. I don't think it was at first, but it became a thing. Like that's what it became, and it kind of fit perfectly. Because Tyler even started talking about how he was, his look and everything he did kind of came off of Burt Reynolds.
I love the axe swinging and cutting the baseball in half. Love that scene.
Oh, yeah. And only Tyler could do that. Tyler is so good at baseball. Tyler was the best baseball player.
Did he cut that for real?
On the stage. Yeah, I mean, for his audition, he sent in ESPN videos of him playing baseball. So he got the role of McReynolds right there.
And did he cut the baseball?
Well, I guess you're supposed to leave that up for people to, their imagination. Right?
Yeah, I love that scene. And interesting thing about McReynolds is that he's so good. He's such a perfectionist, and he's so good at what he does, but he's not a very good loser. After all, he's not very good at playing ping pong. As Jake beat him in ping pong, he throws a paddle at him.
That's Tyler. That's Tyler in life right there. I mean, that's kind of how all athletes are too. McReynolds was just to the crazy T of it, but I mean that just explained McReynolds right there in that. But I liked how they ended up kind of switching it around a little bit too, and giving him a leader side, for the group.
I do too.
The talk with Niles, I felt like that was good because it felt good for him to be a leader too, and not everybody just think he was kind of a jerk.
Yeah, and of course Ryan Guzman, also really good in the film. I loved it when he was in Jake's room trying on his clothes.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite scenes too that he did right there.
Yeah,
it was good, and it was a good moment too with even Nesbitt being in the room too. It kind of showed that's one of those relationship scenes with like two or three people that you really could feel the chemistry between guys. I thought they did a great job with that one.
Oh, Austin Emilio is at Nesbitt. Now, there's a guy, too. Like, even when he's leaving the room with that record and those weird facial in the movements, he always got a laugh. And when he's dancing at the sound machine, that weird little bird-looking dance he was doing.
Yeah, that's Austin for you. Yeah, I mean, I remember watching that and laughing and being like, that's going to be one of the best moments of the movie. When we were shooting that, just because of him and even his partner dancing, they had such a crazy connection that it just works so well. And Austin's so brilliant, and he's so, I don't want to say the word's not weird, but just interesting guy. So he brought it. He turned Nesbitt into something we never would have pictured too.
And he lost at Knuckles, and he also lost a mud wrestling fight.
He did. That girl beat him up pretty good. I think she could have taken a couple of us, though.
I think so. I loved it when he got in there, and she just grabs him and flips him upside down.
Yeah, and they really went for that, too. It was, that was another 30, 40 degrees day, and they were in that mud. Oh, it was brutal. But, the scene killed it. I think that might have been the scene we were all looking forward to the most when we came up with that idea for that to happen. Just to get to watch Austin get body slammed.
The girls, how did they get talked into that? Was it hard?
I think everybody kind of wants to do that. I think it was kind of fun. Like any of us would have jumped in there, I think that's kind of a fun thing to do on a movie is jump in and just mud wrestle and go crazy. And they all were good sports, and they had a lot of fun.
And Nesbitt kept losing bats, too.
Nesbitt lost in everything. I loved how they kind of came up with Nesbitt being a gambler and losing in everything. But, there's always that guy in the group of guys that gambles a lot and he's like really not that good at gambling, but he keeps doing it and keeps losing every time. My roommate's like that, actually.
I love it too when he's playing pool there and he gives that little lecture to Brumley.
Oh yeah, that's a great thing. Yeah, definitely.
And of course we got the I guess we could say the offspring of Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn, Wyatt Russell as Willoughby.
Willoughby, yeah. I mean, Wyatt really brought something to that guy too.
Does he ever look like Kurt?
Oh my God, yeah, it's crazy. And Wyatt's kind of the wise guy too. I would go to on set and be like, "Hey man, I need some advice on this," and then he would be there for that. We all kind of turned it into a Willoughby Wyatt connection, really.
Yeah, and of course that scene where everybody's pairing off to go sleep with somebody, even though you're not supposed to have girls upstairs. And there's Plummer goes in there, and there's Willoughby naked doing Lord knows what.
Yeah, that was brilliant. And that's another scene that I didn't get to see until the movie, and I just went crazy when that happened. Because they had mentioned that he might do that, but I didn't know he did it.
He was, of course, the stoner of the movie, and gave all this talk about music. What was Wyatt Russell like?
I mean, he's a good guy. He's just kind of a really chill, laid-back guy. Really smart, really athletic. Like he was like a professional hockey player.
Oh yeah, he was in Goon.
Yeah, and now he's in Goon 2 or something that's about to come out.
Goon, I think, was shot up this way.
What's that?
I think Goon was shot up this way.
Oh, it was, yeah. He lived in Canada for a couple years, I think, and then played a lot of hockey. Really athletic, like a super good the best golfer of the group. So he's just a nice guy, and surprisingly super athletic and cool.
Yeah, and Jay Quinlan Johnson as Dale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's another East Texas guy. That guy can sing and he can play any instrument you ever wanted. He's brilliant. He's good. And I thought he did a great job with Dale, too.
Oh, he was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, Billy Autry.
Buter. We still call him Buter. We still call Will Britton Buter.
You know what? He was like an awkward version of Matthew McConaughey from Dazed and Confused.
Yeah, I can see that. Definitely.
Yeah, same accent and everything.
I read the script and was like, man, I don't want to be Buter. And then when we started shooting, I was like, I'm so happy I didn't do Buter because I would have ruined it. And Will actually was so good at it. He did such a good job. I felt bad for Buter all throughout the movie, every time I watched it.
You know what I like, though, about Richard Linklater, what makes him so great, is he doesn't give you what you think you're going to get. And I can give you two examples. One, you got Jake coming up to the room there, and he accidentally calls him Buter, and they get in almost a little confrontation, and you almost think that's going to escalate to something bad later, and it never does. And I like that fact. And even, with Jay Niles and McReynolds later on in the film, I like how their confrontation, ended up where Jay Niles had to say, you know what, good hit. He had to come to terms.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how, yeah.
That's how he works, too. Rick talks about that and the fact of, not forcing anything on the film, not forcing anything or doing anything because, maybe the audience that's what they expect or just anything like that. I think if you were to make a fight happen or make some of that stuff happen, you'd be doing it to make a specific thing happen in the movie and then instead of letting stuff happen that would really happen. I don't think those characters would actually fight. And I think all that fell into place really well because they are actually a family and they're a team. And that's the number one thing, no matter, how many differences they have.
I heard Will Britton's supposed to be up for Kong. Is that true? The next
King. He was just in it. He shot the King Kong movie.
Was he Buter versus King Kong?
I don't know. We hadn't seen it, but I'd love to have Buter pop up in it. I hope he did Buter in that.
And one of my favorite characters in the movie, Justin Street, as Jay Niles, looking like an athletic Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one, but yeah, I can see that definitely. That bowl haircut he had, the weird mustache.
Yeah. Oh, gee, he always got a laugh. The first scene, like when Jake is coming into the house there with his records and stuff, and he looks across, and you got him with the little knuckle thing squeezed, and he looks over, and then he ignores. People in the audience laugh just at the sight of him.
Right, and that's the thing that Rick's really good at, is like putting those little things in there, because that wasn't in the script at the beginning, but the idea of showing that, I think, like you said, it got a laugh every time, and it helps to set the idea of the character throughout the whole movie. You kind of are like, oh, that guy's he's going to be different for sure, and if there was anything Niles was, it was different.
Oh, Jay, one of the funniest scenes in the movie was when they get kicked out of the nightclub, and you guys are rejecting him to come to the country club.
Right. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. He was so good at all that. The fight scene, and I remember shooting that, and it was just so hard not to laugh because all that was improv, and he was just going insane to that poor bartender the whole time, just giving it to him.
Even watching him run when he ran away from you guys, it was.
Yeah, when he said something about the pillows, like
don't look under your pillows.
Yeah.
I'll go do some push-ups.
Yeah. And that's something Jay Niles would have done. Would just went and did push-ups.
But I like I said, it's such a good comical character, and Justin Street was so good in the role.
So good.
Yeah.
I mean, he's really. I mean, he's studied Meisner for years. I mean, he's a great actor. We shoot auditions and stuff together out here, and I mean, I hope he becomes the next Johnny Depp. Like he's brilliant. He's brilliant.
And of course, as I mentioned, I had Tori Terranova on here last month. It's interesting, when I heard from her, she had said, like, I don't know if you know where I'm from. I'm from Fredericton, New Brunswick, a little province in Canada. And first line she wrote to me on Facebook was, "My grandfather was born and raised in New Brunswick."
No.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, she's never been here. I guess she was born in Texas, I guess.
I think she's from Houston, maybe. Wow, I didn't know that.
But I thought
I don't have any connections to that.
I was so blown away.
That is.
Yeah.
Small world, man. You get that a lot out here in Los Angeles too. The whole thing of I've met more people out here from the small area in East Texas than I'm from, and it's crazy. Just how the world goes, I guess.
Well, what I find interesting though is like not very many people know where New Brunswick is. We're handy to Halifax, Nova Scotia, and probably the closest thing we have to celebrities is Trailer Park Boys.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Wait, was that
Trailer Park Boys?
Was that done there?
I believe it's in Halifax that they're done.
Really?
Don't quote me on it, but I believe so.
Yeah, I just looked up New Brunswick. I know where it is now. We're good.
Yeah.
I always know that.
I think they should get Deborah Cadabra on the Trailer Park Boys.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I know. I think Deborah Cadabra should pop up somewhere else. She needs her own TV show. Who knows what she's doing with that outfit?
Tori said she's right now playing another dominatrix.
Well, that makes sense. Tori's she's beautiful, and she's also really tall, so it kind of just fits, I guess.
Oh, even when she sauntered over to you guys, with that whipping thing, like she knew how to pull that off.
Mm-hmm. And she made something out of, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of stuff there, and she kind of made a lot out of that. Made that a memorable character, really.
I remember I asked her when I had her on the phone. Her phone actually accidentally muted twice during the interview. I had to do some editing, but I remember I asked her if she did any charities, and I don't think she was at the moment, but she was open. And I threw a charity challenge at her. Remember the ice bucket challenge?
Oh, heck yeah, dude.
Yeah, well, after Robin Williams unfortunately passed away, another one popped up called the Doubtfire Face Challenge
Interesting.
for suicide and depression.
Oh, wow, yeah. I did some stuff to that.
Yeah, and it involved taking a pie in the face and nominating 3 people.
Oh, wow.
And I've had 2 actresses, one from Canada, from a movie called Class of 1984, Lisa Lang was, and the other was Nancy McLaughlin from Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. She did this. And I've got a few others that are going to take this challenge as well. They've been in touch with me. But I said to Tori, she said she's up for a challenge, so I threw that challenge out to her.
She's the best. I feel like she's always down for anything, too. She rocks.
Yeah, so I know I threw the link to the Jason Lives challenge to her to give her an idea what it's all about. But yeah, I threw that charity challenge out to her, and I'm hoping to see her do that. But
oh, no doubt, no doubt. I'm going to pester her about it now too.
Actually, you know what? If you want to take part in it, feel free. I'm trying to get the industry involved in it.
That's a good idea. Send it to me. Maybe me and Tori will do it together.
Sure, but yeah, I've got I got her on YouTube as well, so I can because I didn't know she was on American Idol,
Oh, really? I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. She's talented. She's been doing this for a long time, I think, too.
Yeah. Who else was you talking to about coming on this show today?
It was Tanner, actually. I was talking to Tanner about it yesterday.
Yeah. No,
I told him that I was doing it, and I'm sure he'll be down.
Yeah, I sent him a message on Facebook, and there was a little check mark saying it was red.
Right.
So
I don't even know how I saw it, because I'm not very good with the social media, and so I get on Facebook, and then I don't even know how to really check messages. And one day I just checked messages, and I had a ton of messages, and I just read through it, and was like, oh, here we go.
Well, you know what? One of the reasons I was able to reach out to you and even to Tanner was the fact that Tori said he's still in touch with you both.
Who is Ricker?
No, Tori is still in touch with you and Brumley.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
I went hiking a while back. Yeah, we all kind of. It's weird. Like I'm still in touch with some of the girls that were like our girls in the movie, and all the guys. We still talk all the time. I mean, that movie was such a. I mean, as you can tell, the best part about the movie is making the movie, and it's a cliche thing, but we're all kind of family now. We have our group chats. We have all that kind of stuff. I spend New Year's with some of them. I mean, that's the great thing about our industry, and a great thing about being an actor is when we do these things, we make a lot of friends, And I think a movie like that and an environment that Rick would create, allows for that to happen too.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you, I think I reached out to almost everybody in that cast, and sometimes with Twitter it's difficult. I reached, I think it was Glenn Powell on Twitter, but again with 140 characters, a little difficult. Mm-hmm. Unless they're following you, where you can send a detailed message, that's difficult.
Right.
I reached out to Blake. I think I reached out to Zoe, and reached out to Temple again on Twitter. I reached out to Tyler on Facebook. I reached out to Will on Facebook. I reached out to Justin Street on his web page, and Austin Emilio, and I reached out to everybody. Like I really wanted to throw this movie out there because I feel a lot of people missed out when that was in theaters. Like I said, I've seen it 9 times, and people look at me funny because of all movies I saw that 9 times. I'm like, yeah.
Right. That's awesome. No. Yeah, forget them. I'm happy you did it. That's awesome. No, I mean, we all have our movies that we... me being an actor, I've seen all kinds of movies 9 times a lot now. I'm gonna give you some credit on that, but...
Have we...
That you liked it.
Had we had it another week, I would have kept going back.
That's awesome.
I would have kept Yeah.
I wish y'all had it a couple more weeks too, honestly.
Well, I feel bad. I don't think it was marketed very well.
Yeah, I think there was its issues. But like I said before, you can't, in this industry, you don't worry about it. I think if it's the cream rises to the top, I think it'll come out, and I think people will see it.
Oh, I think so too. I think it's one of those films. It's got so many quotable lines. The characters are so bizarre.
Yeah.
I mean, you're playing Coma because your character
Right.
won't stay awake.
I don't know if there's another character in movies named Coma now.
Nope.
No.
I mean, look, that line alone, I open with, "Wake up, Coma," How many times do you get that?
A lot. Yeah, I'd be at a party and somebody would just come up and be like, "Wake up, Coma." I'd be like, "I'm awake. No, I'm awake. I promise." But yeah.
Do they ask you if you're dressed like a Bible salesman?
I've got the Bible salesman thing a couple times.
Oh, with the lucky hat.
Yeah, the hat is the thing I think I get the most. No, it'd be Wake Up Coma. But yeah, all that stuff, I guess. Oh, you know what I get is everyone quotes Tyler Hoechlin's lines to me, is what it is. Mick Reynolds.
Okay.
I've had a lot of friends even come up and think that I played Mick Reynolds in the movie.
Really?
Yeah, I know. I think that's kind of weird, but yeah.
Do you still have the mustache?
Oh, no. I mean, I have a beard, but no mustache. That bad boy's been retired.
Oh, well, Coma wasn't exactly a bad boy.
He wasn't.
But then again, Nesbeck acted like a bad boy, but he wasn't very bad. He got his ass whipped in that mud.
Right, he did. He did. I think just like all guys that age, everyone thinks they're a little bit more bad than they really are.
So I gotta ask, out of all the scenes in that movie, and this might be a real head scratcher for you, what was your favorite scene to shoot?
Favorite scene to shoot?
Besides being whipped by Tori.
Which was fun. It was great. I think it was probably the scenes at the house. All the scenes at the house.
Boy, that house went through hell.
Spent so much time there. What's that?
That house went through hell. It kind of looked like the front of the Animal House house.
Well, that's exactly that was it. We kind of got the idea from that, I feel like. But yeah, I mean, there was just something about that house. It was just a old, beat-down house, and they kind of fixed it up a little bit so we could just go in there and film. And I think just all the scenes in there, like the "Oh Canada" scene or any scene where we're all together at the place, I think those were all a lot of fun.
It was funny, too, one of the morning shots, somebody's asleep on a mattress out on the roof part.
Yeah. No, I like that part, too, especially the after party stuff, because that's so real, too,
Actually, I was going to mention, too, the girl who played Zoe's roommate, who was that now?
Sophia Ali, I think is her name.
Okay.
But yeah, Sophia, she's great.
Yeah, that just kind of came to me just now. I was thinking about that scene where you guys when they first encountered the two girls, and she gave them a hard time. And I love the fact that Finnegan finally gets her attention.
Oh yeah, no, that was a great ending to it. And that wasn't scripted either. I think that was Glenn Powell's idea, but I thought it was a good idea because it works. Sometimes that works, and she's great. She's one of those people that we still keep in contact with. She's a sweetheart.
Oh, perfect. Well, you know what? Any of these people you're in contact with, do me a favor, send them my way, and we'll continue to promote this movie. I gladly have them on there. I'm sensing you had a good time on here tonight.
Oh yeah, it was a blast.
I'll take anyone.
I'll mention it around.
Huh?
It was a blast, and I'll definitely mention it around. I know Tanner would be wanting to jump on.
Yeah, and send them my way, and I'll be more than happy to continue promoting this movie. You're my second interview from it, and I'll promote this movie probably more than anything this year.
Amen to that.
I love this movie.
keep it out there floating around. Make
Yeah.
people in Canada go watch it.
Yeah. Now, before we wrap up, I mentioned to you, of course, is eventually when this goes on the CHSR site, I will link it to you, and it'll be on the CHSR site for about 3 months, and then it's going to go to my YouTube channel. And it probably won't be till about next year because you're interview number 65, and this weekend I'm only on once a week, and number 49 goes out this week, so I've got a few ahead of you, but be patient with me. It will get out. And,
no worries.
And I will get it out to you, and like I said, Tori's hasn't even gone out yet, but like I said, they're coming, and I guess one more thing before you go, would you mind doing a plug for my show?
Yeah, whatever you need.
Just state your name and state who you played in the movie, and just say you're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise. That's the name of the show, Python's Paradise. And just say in New Brunswick, Canada.
Greg Gilbert on
Python's Paradise. Python like the snake.
Python's Paradise in New Brunswick, Canada?
New Brunswick, Canada. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. You ready?
Let me make sure I get Greg Gilbert on Python Paradise. Yep, I'm ready.
Okay, go.
Hey, this is Forrest Vickery. I played Coma in Everybody Wants Some, and you are listening to Greg Gilbert on Python Paradise in New Brunswick, Canada.
Well, Forrest, I thank you for the honor of coming onto this show. It was great to talk to you. Get the word out there. I'll interview anybody from the movie. And you know what? I saw it 9 times, and I know Glenn's mom saw it more than me, but that's okay. I encourage everybody to watch Everybody Wants Some. It's a masterpiece. It's awesome. It's fun. And Coma's
You're
in
the
it.
man, Greg. Thank you, brother. Appreciate your time.
Yes, and I'll be in touch with you, okay?
Sounds great.
Oh, do you mind if I add you on Facebook?
Go ahead, man.
Oh, I'll do that, okay? Well, all right. Well, I bid you a good...
Warm.
What's that?
So try to stay warm out there.
Oh, yeah, we just had a snowstorm. Well, God bless you, man.
Yes, sir. You too.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
No problem.
Yep, bye-bye.